Hey, everyone. So excited for another episode. My lighting is very bizarre, and that's okay. So, we're here with our second episode ever of the Exalted Entrepreneur Show, talk show. And I'm really excited to share some cool things with you. I want to talk about the whole Walter Pullen dominant thing that went down this past week, which was so interesting. And I want to share with you a little bit about astrological branding and working with the star archetypes, because right now I have just opened the Branding with the Stars self-study course, which is truly it's my most favorite thing I've ever created. And I'll kind of share with you a little behind the scenes of how that course came about and what it's all about and why I'm so excited about it. We just had a full moon yesterday in Taurus, so blessed full moon, although now the moon's already in Gemini, so we're like in the after party. But I am hoping and, expecting that everybody had a beautiful, blessed, really like luxurious full moon in Taurus, and I'd love to hear about how that was for you. And I want to answer a couple of questions that people asked me as well today. So I'm very excited because after this, I have my first module coming out in Abracadabra, which is the magical marketing program that I launched last week. And we have some really amazing women in there who were about to make some big, amazing magic together. And it's just been so cool receiving all the transmissions around this new program and then like receiving them for myself and for everybody in there. And I can't wait to see what happens. So that's what I love the most about business, is that we get to be vessels for new information as to how we live on this planet. And that's what being in business means to me. So hey Tanae, and hey Melissa, hey Sherry, welcome everybody. Hey Donna, welcome. And if you guys do have any questions for me, just drop them in. I will do my best to respond to them while we're live. And Donna, congratulations. I see you just signed up. I just got the email for Branding with the Stars. I'm so excited. You're going to love it. It is really cool. And what, to me, the coolest thing about that new self-study course is that it was a big breakthrough for me, because I was able to finally take something that is really quite big and and like years and years of integrating and understanding and things, and I was able to really put it into a process that I know is going to be so magical for you and yet so practical. So I was so proud of myself, and and it took me a while to get to that point, because I would make some courses in the past, but I feel like I was still very resistant to letting it be simple. You know what I mean? And this is like the new thing for me now. It's like simple is potent. And actually, in fact, that's an astrological truth, because simplicity is the virtue of Taurus, potency is the virtue of Scorpio, and they're opposites of each other. So for me, like my new mantra and everything that I've been realizing now is that simple is potent. It doesn't always have to be more. It doesn't have to always be all this extra stuff, and like that's what I'm so proud of myself, because Taurus North Node, I'm here to learn that. I'm here to really, I think, learn exactly that simplicity is power. So I am very excited. And so I wanted to first talk with you guys just a little bit about that whole crazy, amazing thing that happened this past week. Donna, I know you were part of uncovering it. Hey, Pamela. Like the whole thing, right? So I shared with you guys that I had a very hard time at first deciding if I really wanted to put that tool out there, the Walter Pullen dominant chart thing, because it was one of my secret tools. It was like my secret recipe thing, like, when you like have a really good recipe and you don't want people to know it because you want to keep it all to yourself. So that part of me was like fighting me. But I was like, no, that's ridiculous. That's so not what I'm about. I was like, you know. So I shared it, but I was still, I was afraid on some level, right, to share that. As with so much, I realize in my business, and I realize it in my clients, that a lot of times I think we're just afraid to take responsibility, and I think we're just afraid of like what's going to happen when we like put something out there, you know what I mean? Like we're just afraid. And so there was some fear there. And then when Donna and Alyssa mentioned to me that their signs had changed, I was shopping and I was like, oh fuck. I was like, what do you mean? Like, that's crazy. Like, that can't be, like I've been using this tool for literally at least 10 years, and it's never changed. And I was like, that can't be, and I didn't panic or anything, but I was really like confused because that had never happened. And I was like, wait, why is that happening? Like now that I've shared it with people, like what is going on here? And it was very Mercury retrograde. So, oh, Pamela, that's awesome. I'm so happy that you're loving it. And thank you for sharing that. So I was like, F me, and I was like, well, maybe it's just a glitch or whatever. So I didn't panic. I emailed Walter Pullen himself and I said, excuse me, Mr. Pullen, but what is going on? Like my dominant sign has changed. Mine did too. And I was like, is there a glitch or something? Is it just Mercury retrograde? And then he wrote back a couple days later, and he's so graceful and really cool. And honestly, I would love to get him on an interview or something. Like that's my goal. I want to like interview him and ask him just about his algorithm and what he's created and things like that. So I'll let you guys know. But anyway, he wrote back to share, as I shared with you all, that he updated the program recently for the first time in 20 years and that this new formula is more accurate in his opinion. So I was blown away by that, of course. Hey, Carrie, because I was like, what the hell? It hasn't changed in 20 years and now it changes after, like it's just weird. So at the same time, though, it felt very divine and it felt like I shared like an upgrade and it felt so appropriate too. And I felt like we all needed that for some reason, and that it was such a great lesson to me to just let go of the fears because we can't control anything. Hey, Alyssa. So you know what I mean? Like I had to surrender, and that was very, very Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, right? We have to surrender when it comes to Scorpio and Pluto. We have to learn that, like, we can't control everything, and really control is an illusion, right? And so for me, that was one of the greatest experiences so far of this Mercury retrograde. And I really encourage you to keep a retrograde diary, especially of dreams and occurrences like this, because it's like I really think of it as Mercury retrograde being a time where we kind of we are able to remove the veil a little bit and see behind the scenes of how magical reality really is, and how all of those intricate kind of webs and workings that are going on that we're just not aware of, but are really going on, and we're part of it. And so when you write these things down in a journal, you can revisit them. And oftentimes there's cycles and connections, like this Mercury retrograde, for example. The other day, Mercury transited the sun, which doesn't always happen, right? Meaning that it completely transited the sun. It won't happen again until I think 2032 or 33. And that actually was connected to a Mercury retrograde in Scorpio 13 years ago. So I was sitting there thinking, like, well, where was I 13 years ago? And I still have to do a little digging around that because my timelines are all messed up. But like, it's just very magical stuff. And keeping a retrograde diary is really helpful because, again, you can make some connections and learn deeper things about yourself and about your journey, I think, right? And last night I had a really cool dream about a baby deer that was my pet. And it was so cool. And so I wrote that down in my Mercury retrograde diary, because who knows? And I haven't even looked up the meaning of that yet. But if anybody knows, I'm open to it. So that was a very cool experience. And I found that for most people, it wasn't as drastic. Like for me, my dominant sign is still Aquarius, but my second now is Pisces, and everybody shared in the thread, and it was so cool. And some people, it was really drastic, and it really made sense for them to, now the new or the upgraded, right? But again, it reminds us that these tools and everything, like reality is not set in stone, like that's what Mercury retrograde comes, I think, to teach us, is that 3 times a year we're shown again that reality really is a figment of our imagination in a certain way, in that it's constructed and created by our perceptions. And whenever we get too enthralled and too, I think, tied up into the way we think something is, right, or that something is defined or written in stone, we need to remember, and Mercury retrograde reminds us that there's always more magic beneath the surface, and there's always the unknown at play that at that last minute, that can come in, and that's the trickster. That's what Mercury is. It's that just unexpected twist of events, right? And so that whole thing was very cool. And I wanted to, just share with you a little today about like building on that, what is your least dominant element reveal about you in your business? Because I did mention that. And, just as your dominant element or dominant sign has a lot to do with what comes naturally for you, I shared that your least dominant element and sign also, but we'll talk about element today. That's a part of you that you've come here to master, and that you, again, might have a strong blind spot there. But when it comes to your business, it's a great thing to be aware of. It's a great thing to know that, again, it may need some extra nourishing. It may need some extra attention. So I've shared with you recently that I have come to realize that my most difficult task in business is growing my audience. That doesn't come naturally to me, like fully owning it. I just am not good at that. Like I am not. I am a Cancer rising. I like to be in my little space, and even like socially, right? When I go somewhere new, like I stay on the sidelines unless I'm drunk. Then my Leo moon comes out and I'm like dancing on the tables. But in general, right, like I go about new people and things like that a little bit more cautiously. And I know that about myself, but I'm excellent at nurturing and I'm excellent at selling. So I know that for me, right, my elements are quite balanced, right? If we look at mine, I don't have one that is super like super strong. Like I know some people have like one that's like, really, really high, and then one that's super low. And that's sometimes the case. For some people, it's not. Like I'm going to pull mine up right now just to get the exact, because now with the new weights and stuff, but like I think it's still pretty much even. So for me, it's not going to be so pronounced, right? But I want you to look at your elemental balance again now, and I want you to take this information and start thinking about your business in this way, because what I find that it will help with is taking some of that pressure and judgment off yourself to just be like, hey, like that's just not my forte, and that's all right, and I can outsource it, or I can make an intentional plan and strategy to do this. Like that's what I'm doing now. I'm like, okay, I'm not the best at growing my audience. How can I work with that? How can I consciously improve in that area? Instead of, what I used to do, I would be so hard on myself. I was like, oh, I have no followers or whatever, like not even consciously. I felt ashamed of it. You know what I mean? Like I felt like, oh, that just is this shameful part of myself that I didn't want to look at. I didn't want to face. I didn't want to feel. And I was never one to go for like vanity metrics, but I really did feel like maybe there was something wrong with me or something like that. But it's not the truth. Like it's just that it's not my forte. My forte is nurturing, right? I'm really great at that, like I said, right? So if we look at my elemental balance, my earth and air are the lowest, right? I have 23.8 of each. But again, then I have fire and water, 26 each. So they're all quite close. I don't have like a very pronounced difference. But okay, if we say earth and air are my lowest, right? That would make sense, because I think the air is the more social part, and that would make sense that I do struggle a little bit more with that. I'm not like terrible at it, but like that's my weaker thing in my business. So for you guys, right, let's say you have fire as your lowest, right? Might be harder for you to sell, right? It might be that in your business, what you're resisting or what feels like a shameful thing for you because it just doesn't come as naturally, maybe is in the selling or in the showing up and putting yourself out there, because fire is very active and fire is very, like not afraid to sell, right? I kind of associate it with the selling because it's like this fiery activity, but it could be like visibility type of a thing. Like I'm not afraid to be visible, right? If you have very low water, you might struggle with the emotional connection and the nurturing. And just knowing that, at least you're aware of it and you're like not shaming yourself about it or avoiding it. You're looking at it, you're seeing it, and you're saying, okay, I'm going to get help with this. Maybe I'll, team up with a cancer or something, or like, watch some movies that like help me be a little bit more emotional. You know what I mean? Like there's tools that we can use, actually. Everything is a tool and everything has an energetic frequency. Hey, Jesse. So, you might say, okay, I need to nurture the water element. And in my free ebook that you guys all can get, I share some ways of doing that for each of the elements, which I just thought of now. But if you have very low earth, right, or you're deficient in earth, right, then maybe you have a harder time with consistency. Maybe you have a harder time with like the practicalities and like the, number, like the financial pieces of things and just the tangible parts of business, like how to price your offers or whatever. Anything having to do with that might just not come as natural for you, but don't make yourself feel bad about it. Just own it and get the support that you need, or consciously make a plan, right? Don't just let it be that thorn in your side or that shadow, or, you know what I mean? That part of you that you think is a shame or bad, like I did for so long. Instead, just own it and recognize it and, make it work for you. Get curious about it, right? Like for me, I'm like, oh, this is so interesting. How do I grow my audience? Because that doesn't come so natural to me. But I'm like, well, how do I consistently grow my audience, right? Because that's like earth and air. Like, how do I be more earth and air in my business? Well, I have to learn that, because that is not my forte, right? So does this click for you guys? And, you want to hold space for them. You want to go there, because even if it's unfamiliar for you, even if you're resistant to those things, right? Don't neglect them. We have to have a balance in our business of all four elements, right? We have to have fire, right, where we're selling. We have to have water, where we're nurturing our audience. We have to have earth, where we're showing up consistently and owning the tangible outcomes of our work and being real and practical about things, and, really structuring things, right, and systematizing where we need to. And we have to have air, where we are growing and meeting new people and bringing in new leads. Okay? When you have all four, you have divine flow. Okay? So next topic, because I don't have that much time today. The next topic, how astrological branding works. Okay? So I'm very excited. I have announced a couple of times that I just unleashed and opened up Branding with the Stars, which is something I've been working on for a long time, but just put together into this self-study course that I think is amazing. I know is amazing because you're going to be able to take all these concepts for yourself and create the brand, not just visually, but energetically and internally, that is of your soul, that then really magnetizes and calls in the people that you're really meant to work with. And yesterday I had a client call, and she said to me, like, we were talking about abracadabra and marketing and stuff, and she said, it's so funny, Daphna, because when I see your posts, and you post a lot, she's like, but I don't get sick of them. And I don't care how much you sell to me. I love it. And she's like, that's what I want my marketing to be like. And I laughed because I was like, I feel like there's two reasons for that. One is that I do the elemental marketing, and we're learning at Abracadabra. And I also believe deeply that my brand attracts soulmate people. Like she and I, like, we're soulmates. So like what I'm sharing with her is like, it feels like two friends like geeking out over like the latest episode of like Game of Thrones when it was coming out. Like, it's not like I'm like trying to sell her this thing that she doesn't like. Like, I get it and she gets it, and we both are like, oh my God, like, we love this thing, And that's what, to me, Soul Couture branding is about, because it's about going with who you are, highlighting it, and not pretending to be someone you're not. Because when you're not really owning who you are and showing that in the brand, what happens is you just inadvertently attract people who like don't really have a shared like interest necessarily, or a shared energetic like vibe. You know what I mean? It's like you're just kind of not being who you really are. And same goes with like, I saw this t-shirt once, and it said that I wear band shirts as a form of mating. It was a form of a mating call or something, because as you guys know, I love rock music. And in fact, I am going to a Tool concert in Brooklyn next week. I'm really excited. I'm dragging Matt along with me, although he's going to love it because Tool is an amazing band. Shout out to Melissa for encouraging me to go. But what I love about that is like, imagine if you were wearing like a suit and some outfit that it really just did not explain at all what you're about, and you go out and then some person comes over to you based on that and starts talking to you, and you get into a relationship with them, but then deep down, like, you were wearing, let's say, like a Taylor Swift shirt, when really you love listening to like heavy metal, and then the whole relationship is just off because you're like, wait, but I want to listen to heavy metal, but they're like, but you were wearing a Taylor Swift shirt. And then you're like, yeah, but I actually like heavy metal. And then it's like you try to like mash up heavy metal with Taylor Swift, and just like doesn't work, right? It's like, just wear the heavy metal shirt, and then you'll attract the person who likes the heavy metal with you, right? So that's, to me, what the branding is about. It's just about being who you are. That attracts the right person. It's fun for you guys. It's easy. And then they never get sick of what you're doing, as long as you're being true to yourself, which that's part of branding as well. It's not just about the visual. It's about the whole business experience, from what you're talking about to what your mission is, to what your purpose is, to what types of offers you're creating, to the names of those offers, to everything that you're doing in your business is your brand. It's holistic. And so there never comes a day where the person's like, but Daphna, why are you know what I mean? Like, you're allowed to change and grow, but they're not like, they're always delighted because they signed up with me for a reason, right? And that's what, to me, this is all about. So how does astrological branding work? Astrological branding is about using your astrological signature, which is just the essence of who you are and what you most align with naturally, the frequencies that you most embody naturally, using those to inform and guide your creative process throughout time. So it's on a cellular level. You imbue that into everything that you do, and it becomes a guideline, right? So you don't want to be all over the place. I see people posting things and I'm like, that's not on brand for them. Not that I judge people at all. I really don't, because I get it. You know what I mean? They're just not locked into their brand archetype. But at the same time, I'm like, damn, like, I wish that they were more consistent with it, because then it would just be easier for their true soulmate clients to find them and hook up with them and, commit to them, right? So to me, using these, and in the program, the self-study course, what it is there's a 3-step process, right? 3 parts of the astrology chart that I use, that I teach you how to weave them together and to create what I call your Soul Couture brand codes, right? They're essentially like the codes of your brand that then once you get it and you see it and you do this creative process, you'll know what types of stock photo to use. You'll know what to name your program. You'll know what to talk about. You'll know what to name your group. You'll know what to name your business, right? If you don't know that, you'll know what to wear in a branding photo shoot, right? All those things should be cohesive and uniform in terms of that it's a certain frequency that you are embodying and expressing in your brand. And again, that calls in the right person. So we use these different parts of the chart. And Donna, I'm so excited that you're in it. I can't wait for you to do the process. It is so cool. I love it. I actually really love it. And it's so fun because you learn a lot about yourself too. And it's just like really interesting to work with these star archetypes, right? But beyond that, like, you take these components, right, and then you plug them in and you create something that feels really good and natural for you, but you're able to then understand how it works together in that whole picture, visually, aesthetically, energetically, brand voice, brand values. Everything is connected, and then it's easy to be creative in that container where you're not like doing random things that don't really align, and then it just doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? So that's what astrological branding is to me. I have my own unique proprietary process, right? Where it took me a long time to figure out, well, what really does come into play here and what has worked for me in my branding to get to a point where now my brand, like I said, really does call in the right people. Not just the aesthetics of it, but everything, the whole experience. It's working for me. And that's what I broke down and turned into the program for you so that you know exactly step by step what the important things are to look at and to imbue into your branding. Okay, so that's exciting. And as you guys know, I don't even know right now because I think some people just signed up, but there might be one spot left for the bonus mood board that I'm creating for you based on your astrology if you sign up, and also the price is going up to $397 on Friday. So you'll still be able to sign up, but it's $77 now. So if you feel like you want to do it, you probably want to do it before Friday because the price is going to go up. So that's that. It's really exciting. Now I wanted to talk with you guys a little bit about my favorite full moon business activities. So we hear a lot about like working with the moon, right? And Melissa is at Melissa Fischetti, who's in this group. She's actually creating an amazing new program about manifesting with the moon. So she's really expert at that. And it's so powerful to do this work because to me, it's about ritual and it's about meaning and it's about understanding the life cycle of everything that we do and seeing our business as a creative life force. So when I say, you know, I always post around like the dark moon time, which is a couple of days before the new moon each month. That's the time to banish, right? That's the time when I am unfollowing, unsubscribing, deleting, and blocking, right, for the win at that point. But that's the dark moon. So the full moon time, right, what do I do during full moon activities? I like to take the day off, honestly. Full moons in Wiccan tradition or whatever, called Esbats, right? What does that mean? It means celebration. It actually means like giddy, joyful, like celebration, where the full moon is a time where we're really supposed to just celebrate the culmination and the blossoming of energy, right? And so when the full moon, let's say, was like in Taurus yesterday, we celebrate the fullest expression of Taurus energy in our lives. And it's just about celebrating, you know, it's just about allowing joy to flow through you. And how important is that? I mean, as human beings, celebrations and festivities and things, that is a very important part of our experience, right? That's why we have parties and we do these things or whatever. But if we're not doing that in our business enough, you're really depriving yourself of an essential component of the creative process. If you are constantly just work, hustle, whatever, like doing the work of new moon, all that stuff, like planting intentions, set, like everything, but you're not actually celebrating what's coming, you're literally starving the process, and you're not going to be fully activated to do it again. You know what I mean? That's why it's so important to be grateful. That's why it's so important to celebrate the wins. I don't care how big or small. Celebrate them. Give thanks. Celebrate it. Like really just celebrate it. Have a party, right? Or whatever that means for you. Maybe it's taking a day to yourself. Maybe it's going and doing something really fun, taking yourself out, taking your boo out, whatever, like just doing something that is a celebration, a celebratory act. Very important. So for me, I like to just take the day off, go shopping, maybe like listen to music, dance music. Like I'm still doing that today. And in fact, I have a really good trance mix. If anybody's interested, I can drop the link. But do something fun. Give thanks for what you have created to yourself, to the people who have helped you, to Goddess, to God, to your clients, to your business, to your guides. Celebrate it as though it's the last day on earth in your business. That fulfills a very important need inside of us. That is what gives us the gift of life, that we can then move forward and do it again. Otherwise, we're just slaves to the never-ending pursuit of happiness, right? So that's my favorite full moon business activities. I like to just celebrate. I like to look at my numbers. I like to, and again, I will work with whatever sign it's in and, the house it's in for me to be a little bit more specific. But like, just in general, that's what we do. But like with Taurus, like it's such a good time to just like eat, drink, and be merry and like stop and smell the roses and like feel how sweet life can be, That's what it's about. Okay. Lastly, I do want to answer a couple of questions that people had asked in the post the event. Okay. So Tani asked, if her north node is in Libra, her dominant sign and moon sign is Virgo, should she be giving away a lot for free? Or how should I best structure my biz? Okay, so this is a question that seems to be inspired by the On Fleek kits, in which we, share a lot about like how to structure your offers and types of business models that would be optimal for you based on your energetic nature. However, what I'm going to say is her north node is Libra, okay? Which means her south node is Aries. Her dominant and moon is Virgo. Okay, so the real thing that I'm thinking that's interesting here is that her south node, this is interesting perspective to take. Her south node is Aries, which means her comfort zone is Aries, right? She's come here to learn to be more Libra. She's come here to really learn the gifts of Libra and to grow into that and kind of understand that essence through embodying it. Right? Libra is about harmony and relationships and partnerships. Okay. But what the whole Aries Libra axis is about understanding that when it comes to relationships and energetic exchanges, there has to be an equality, an equal energy exchange, right? That's Libra is about equality. And Aries, the opposite sign, is about honoring yourself. Okay. Now, being that she has her dominant sign in Virgo and her moon there, she probably has a very strong tendency and pull to give away a lot of things for free, because that is the archetype of the servant. Now, in the On Fleek kit, I did share that one of the blind spots there is to be the indentured servant or the slave, where you completely forego your own needs and rights and things like that in the name of service. So Tanny, if you're finding that you keep putting out free, and there's an imbalance and there's not an equal energy exchange, stop with the free shit. Choose one free offering that has a strategy to it that will lead you to sales and that enables people to invest in you. That's what I would say. Okay, Samantha asked, how do I incorporate her zodiac sign and astrological side into her business? I love that question. You can get your On Fleek kit. You can watch any of my free videos, and you can simply begin to explore your dominant sign or your sun sign and think about how you are being true to yourself and how you are actually expressing your gifts in your business as opposed to your not self or things that you've been programmed to be. I would start with the On Fleek kit. Okay, Sherry Lynn asked, I read somewhere that the middle between the north and south nodes is your stepping stone to get to the north node. It's like what you need to get to your north node, magical place of success. Have you ever heard of this theory? Ironically, that would be my least dominant, Virgo. Interesting. So do you mean the sign that is right in between the north and south node? I haven't heard of that. But that would make a lot of sense, and I really like that idea. So I definitely want to hear where you heard that from. I love stuff like that. Like I love like that type of interpretation in astrology. But you know, again, I feel like if it speaks to you, take from it, right? It could be that you what you need. Yeah, it could be like a little bit of an access point or something where gives you clues and information as to how to embody your north node more, which is great. You know, great. I will look at that and I really appreciate that. And that's a pretty cool thing to think about. Astro twins. I like them. I'm going to look into it. Like I said, I haven't heard, but it definitely resonates and that makes a lot of sense to me. And I think, again, that could be a really cool perspective and extra hint, right, for you to use that. And what I would say with anything like this is, you know, just sit with it, really. Maybe journal on it, write it out, and find something to take away from it and take action on, because that's the whole point, right? Okay. Cool, and Tanae too. So this could be a very cool thing for us to all explore. But that is it for today's show. I thank you guys for submitting your questions. I see a couple more people have joined Branding with the Stars. So welcome to you guys, and I'm so excited to share that with you. And if anybody has any questions about that program, just let me know. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with me this morning. And if you have any follow-up thoughts or questions or things you want to share, you can always drop that in the group. And I hope you guys have a really beautiful and blessed Wednesday. And I'm going to share the trance mix that I was listening to for everybody because it is so good. Okay, love you guys. Have an amazing day. Bye.